Okay, cool. So let's start from last time. So if you've seen also like the previous stream or previous video on YouTube, you will see that like the layers in here, like the property panels has changed a little bit. I just made a couple of modifications to make it look a little bit better. And right now there are a few features that we needed to add in order to make it like more complete as a SVG editor. Let me find here we have our document. We fixed the sidebar. The sidebar was already fixed. So let's check. Yeah, improving the layer with the selection. This is something that we need to do. And regarding to layers, we should probably also add select element from layers only depth 0 reordering of the layers. Okay, then what else may need to change, oh yeah, of course, like colors and stuff in here. So we haven't changed like the fill property of any element or the stroke. So colors, like we need to support the fill, need to support the stroke. We first of all need also like a color picker component, because so far we don't have it. And from what I've seen before, I think that they don't support it either, right? Yeah, I can't see any reference to a color picker, so I think they don't have it. That's one thing. Oh yeah, we also need to support text. So text on path as well, that would be cool. And the other thing is like create elements, right? So having like a floating panel to create elements. And the elements that we want to create most likely are like the rectangle, like circle or ellipse eventually. We need to have just the selection tool as well, some path and the text. This is what comes into my mind right now. Probably later on we can even figure out if we need something else. So last thing I guess is like save, export, import features. Oh, that's not the last thing. Undo, redo. So having this kind of features here, I think that would allow us to have like a more or less complete first version of this SVG editor. Later on, of course, we can like improve and add more stuff, but that would be a good starting point, I guess. So let's start. We have the listing here. Let's see where we can start from. So in here, I added recently like the selection in this part for when you hover on it, because like the hover is no longer available since I have like this different background in here. But I wanted to have this hover also on the first element, right? The first element, if that's the case. But I don't know, maybe not over here, but over the sidebar menu button, maybe. Sidebar. This is if we have depth 0, sidebar menu button. Yeah, but this one is like have already like other classes for when you have the hovering. There are already like way too many classes in here. So probably that could be why it's not that responsive right now, even if it's less like depth 0. Even it has like depth 0. Like the goal for me is not like being able, in this case, just to visualize it, but whenever you click on one of them, you need to be able to actually like select the object. So let's start from the click maybe. So whenever we have the tree, right, when we have the tree, we want to be able to emit an event when you click on it, or we can handle directly the event inside of the tree, right? We could do either one of those two things. So do I have a function that, no, I don't. But it would be useful if I had like a function that set active object based on the canvas, right? So the canvas itself, I mean, it's always the same, but then I'm going to provide like the object. It's going to be like a fabric object, and then canvas set. This doesn't look like it is like sfabric canvas or null, I guess, or undefined actually. This should be set active object, yeah. Set active object, the object itself, right? So this should be the function that we want to have, and this is inside of the store, meaning that when we click onto the tree, we want to call this function. Should it be inside of the tree? I don't think so. I don't think so. Let's try just for now to emit the event. So what can we do? We can say like define emits, and then we're going to define on select, something around those lines. Let's start maybe from this one here. Maybe start from this trigger, whichever should be fine. So if I have this click in here, right, and I want to emit on select, what should you select? Layer object, right? Because that's the object that we are going to mark as the active one. As the active one, yeah. Okay, so layer panel on select object, and this one is going to use the SVG store, so we already have that. Oh yeah, used for reordering is a different thing. This will be on object select, on select object. Okay, this should be fabric.object. Does it have no? Let's import it. So it has a reference to it, and then SVG store set active object as object, right? For debugging purposes, let's just add the object in here for now. Okay, it did work. So when I click on this, yeah, it's going to set the my group as the current object. So let's try and do the same thing. Let me keep this one for the moment. Let's do the same thing also for the other side, which is in here. And I'm like not 100% that this is like the sidebar menu button. I'm not sure it's going to catch the event, but actually it is. So as you can see, I can like select stuff in here, and since it's lagging pretty bad, I think that there is something with the reference that we need to address first. Because this is what it's doing, right? This, like, when I click onto that, this works without issues, but if I select it like this is going to like lag a bit. So if this is the kind of performance error that we have, I think it's because of like the reference inside of the objects. So one thing that I should have already done by now is creating some kind of identifier that we are going to use inside of the elements. So the rectangle, right? The rectangle is part of the fabric object. So let's see. This object here, do they have the name inside of this? This is like generic set of attributes that are available in here. Do they have the name? Renamed. Okay, not used by Fabric. This one. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. There is also data here, not used by Fabric, but just for convenience. That's convenient actually, because like if we put inside of the data some metadata, that could be pretty useful. Let's suppose we are going to define our data. Yeah, so this one is already supported, and I have the ID, right? So what if we have a function to generate some random IDs, and those random IDs will allow us to find inside of the canvas specific objects, right? Because this doesn't have the ID, right? It doesn't. Okay. So we have to rely on this kind of extra data. I see. This is one way of doing it. So this is pretty much still being used. So if UIDs, and then we are going to use this one in order to generate them. Now, this is being used right now only for the current set of objects that I have, but probably later on we will need to use them in a different context. Like whenever I'm creating a new object or new path or new text or whatever, I need to actually set also a UID. Okay, so this should have this should contain now the UID. Okay, and every time I generate one, it should be different. So let me just modify this for each element that I have. Okay, what about the group? Data? Yeah, also the group. Okay, so things to keep in mind are also when you create a group, you also need to ensure that the group has a UID, yeah. Okay, it's not something that we are going to notice unless inside of the tree right now, we are going to show both these and the layer object data. Please recognize it. Yeah, it does that. So in here now we have the ID, and we can use it in order to find which object to actually mark as selected, right? So if I emit this, if I emit the object, I'll just emit the object itself, right? But actually, do I need to? Well, not really, but okay, let's go in here and use the, like, we're still using the object, right? So set the active object as this one, and we are going to extract the ID from here. So we have the object ID, and it's equal to the object data.id. Now the thing is, data first of all could not be defined in some cases, and ID as well, or like null in this case. So if there is no object ID, then we have a problem, because we cannot assign, like, we cannot reliably say based on the name or based on some other pointer that that's the actual object that we are looking for. So the only thing that comes into my mind is right now is like there is no object ID, so I cannot set the active object. Same goes in here. I need to change set the active object. Okay, now we need to find the object, and this means get the objects, then find the one that has inside of the data, that has some data, and also the data ID, it's equal to the where can I find the object ID, right? Okay, if there is no object, where then we have another kind of issue again, which is could not find the object with the specified object ID, cannot set the active object. Okay, obj here. Okay, and then how about this? Okay, so if there is no object, it's not assignable. Why? This could be like if there is no object, then you return, right? Oh yeah, obj, sorry. Okay, perfect. So the thing that I'm trying to do in here is instead of using some object that may not be referenced inside of the canvas, I'm just using exactly the one that is inside of the canvas. So there should be no risk of having like a copy that is going all around. But let's see if that works. So I'm going to select the rectangle in here. Yeah, it looks fine. This one looks fine as well. Let's take the circle. Yeah. So with those IDs appears to be working correctly. It doesn't like have it doesn't have the lag anymore. So my guess is that basically recognizes the object being part of the canvas because it literally took it from the canvas, and it doesn't have the risk to be some kind of how can I say, proxy object or some kind of reference that is not inside of the canvas. And from also our previous stream, we noticed that basically unless we have inside of the window the entire canvas, the reference inside of view is going to break it. So as of right now, let's remove the IDs from here, since we don't need to display them because we see that they are working fine, I think, and that we can select the different elements from here, right? This is fine, this is fine. So now I would like maybe to have a different selection for like different display for this in case some object is selected, right? But like that's not really that necessary right now. So let's first find based on our list, what do we have in here? Okay, select the element from the layers. We have this. We also have the reordering of the layers. Reordering of the layers, that's an interesting one. Let's see how that could work. But first, we have a few modifications here that I'm aware of. And yeah, I tried to play also with the backgrounds and stuff. Not that I really like the result, but it will be fine for now. So add layer selection from the layer panel. So this one should be fine. Now what we want to have next is the, let me check, everything is fine, right? So yeah, this doesn't have a name right now. This doesn't have a name, but the other things are being selected correctly. This is also being selected correctly. Thing is, I cannot like click onto this thing. Okay, so, oh, and also, oh, here we go. Also, this doesn't have the object ID. So here we have the error. There is no object ID, meaning that when we have the store that is creating group the active selection, this one. So this is going to create a group, right? Are you going to create a group? As fabric canvas or undefined. Get active object. This should be an object, right? I mean, this one was, I needed to pretend that this is an active selection, I guess, in order to have it as a group, yeah. And then the to-group option finally, yeah, it's going to return a group. And now that it returns a group, which would be this group here, I can create, I probably should have like a utils file or something for that. I don't want to call because maybe later on I want to change the logic that I'm using to create those IDs. I don't want to have maybe the UID before. So best thing here, in my opinion, would be like to create like the utils, utils for now. It's going to be a generic utils for now. And inside of the layer, no, inside of the scene, I'm importing this, which is actually useful here. And here we are going to export a function that create object ID, and it's just returning UID before. Okay, it's very simple, but in this way I can change it later on. Create object ID. Okay. But having this data field is actually pretty useful. I hope that it's being also like serialized automatically in a cool way, so we can like reuse it later. Because in that case, it means that for each object we actually have a custom container of whatever we want. That's pretty useful, I think. So here we go. We have the group, and what I wanted to do is like data, right? Data ID. Do I need to initialize? Yeah, probably so. Create object ID, right? If I mean I prefer to maybe call it like this. I want to make it messy. Okay, so right now if I create something, right? Okay, and let's click on it. Yeah, it works now. Perfect. So it's being selected. Also, I don't like that the new group doesn't have a name. Of course, I have never set it. So this will be a group. Like ideally, whenever you select something, you select like a group, and it will automatically match you with group 1. Then later on, you're going to have the next one that you select is going to be group 2, and so on and so forth. But this would require us to see how many things are already called like a group something, which is we are going just to solve it probably like this right now. I'm not going to put like numbers to find how many of them are there already. I'm just going to say, okay, whenever you're creating a new group, we are just going to say new group in here, which I think it's okay as a solution. It's fine. But now this was required for us in order to be able to change this and see, because we are going to use probably also IDs. We need to identify the objects and sort them by the IDs. Let's see how we can do that. So this was one fix which was pretty important. Fix add IDs for new groups. This was pretty important. The next thing is sorting. So sorting was part of the to-do that we had used for reordering on change order. And now we have this event, right? And I have no idea what this event is. So on change order will be called in here. And we are going to change it. Yeah, so it did something like it moved new index and all the index stuff. Yeah. Same here. Let's see Fabric how does some stuff like v5. We want to see layer ordering or something like this. Canvas add train insert add to add a custom data field to each object, track which layer it is. Oh, so ironically they are using some custom data thing in order to store the layer. Do I need to go that far for that? I mean, it's not like and then what? So let's suppose you switch two of them, right? You're switching. So first quickest solution would be to say, okay, I don't care. I just want to, whenever you're done with your reordering, whatever is left, it's going to be the new order, meaning that I'm removing everything from the canvas and I'm putting it back in the new order. This works, but this is slightly an overkill, I would say. Oh, now I see why this looks smaller. Oh, I just noticed something. I want to fix it because it looks not good. We have the grip, right? Does it help if I do this? Yes, it does. So right now, finally, they are all of the same size. This was bothering me so much. I was like, I'm not sure this is like the same size or not, but okay, now I know that it was not. And this is fine now. So one thing is, as I mentioned, quick solution. I'm switching here and everything inside of the canvas is going to like be removed for instance and put back in the right order. That's one way to do it. Or else we are going to have these indexes, right? So new index and old index, they are basically going to switch. But if they are going to switch, it means What does it mean? It means that I need to change the canvas order based on that. So before we make a decision, let's see what can we work with. Wait, do you have a fiddle actually for that? So I don't really like this fiddle. Rendering the same way, active selection. Layer and canvas objects. Oh yeah, so I saw this thing. They have the send backwards, send forward thing. So b5 send backward. So why the first thing is always like Stack Overflow and not the documentation? That can't be a good sign. So let's see. In here, this should be part of the canvas, right? Canvas and set send backwards. Yeah. So send backwards is one way. Then send to back. Set active object. Do you have send forward? Send. What? You can just send backwards. Bring forward. Of course, bring forward. Moves an object up in stack. Optional parameter involving selection of the object in front of the first intersecting object when intersection is calculated. Oh, okay. So, but this intersecting thing, okay, if true selected only if it's intersecting. So if the object is not one on top of the other, this would not apply, right? If true, send the object in front of the next upper intersecting object. So whatever he finds, it just is going to find the first one and go on top of it. And this is not what we are looking for, though. Like, that's a nice feature eventually to have if you have the right click, right? That's the only thing that comes into my mind right now. In the right click, same as they have it in here, right? They have, where is it? Wait, do they? I can't see it. Zoom in, zoom out. Wait, how do they, like, they do it only from here? Like, you can delete stuff from the layer. Oh yeah, they have it. So send to front, send to back. Then you can also flip stuff, which is okay. I probably just want to add it in here instead. Let's see. So I may want to have a wrapper of those functions for the object. And this is send backwards, send to back, bring forward. Okay. So this requires to have only one object, I think. Can you do it with multiple objects? I mean, even if you do that, what would be the result? Yeah, send to front and send to back. So they're just saying, yeah, we're taking them and putting them on top, right? Send to front. So we have those two ones. Oh no, it's just moving them one up. Yeah, it's moving them only one up. I'm not sure. I still feel that this would be like more, like easier to use. Anyway, so we have this one for the active object, right? So I'm taking everything from like the canvas in here, but I could also just do the get canvas function, right? Yeah. So probably that's my best option anyway, like get canvas, this get canvas, right? Question is, this get canvas, yeah, it doesn't have a type here of return. So this is either a fabric canvas or undefined, right? So now we can say, okay, window canvas, just this get canvas, and we can remove this ts ignore, right? Yeah. Okay, this get canvas. This is the only place where I should have the window, right? Yeah, exactly. So window, no wait, there is another one, window canvas in here when I'm setting it. So you know what, set canvas, and it's going to take the canvas object, which will be fabric canvas only, and we are going to say window canvas is equal to canvas. Okay. So in this way, the only two places where we have the interaction with the actual window are going to be inside of the SVG store. And in here we can do SVG store set canvas to this. We remove this one. Should be fine. Should be fine. Yeah, everything should work as before. So let's move on. Let's move on. Now here, let's try to send forward, right? Can we do that? Send forward. Let me see. Yeah, send forward. Oh, send object forward. Send object. Let's keep it bring object forward. And this one is going just to check for the canvas. This one should have probably. I mean, it's fine. There is no canvas, cannot bring forward. And then we need to have the object of the object selection. This is becoming like too many checks, I feel. Have too many checks. Like, we still need them, but there's probably a better way to like organize the code for that. So we can have the active object. The const active is going to be the canvas get active object. If there is no active, just return error. There is no active to bring forward. Okay, and if there is, wait, that's not active. Send no bring forward. So I didn't think about it, but actually I thought that the method is on the canvas, and the method should be on the canvas. So bring forward, right? This is, oh, it takes the object to send, okay. But why do I have a bring forward on top of the object itself, right? Class object, we have bring forward. Functions from objects, like you're missing. Moves an object up in the stack of drawn objects. So it's the same thing. Okay, should be fine. I mean, oh wait, this is what I'm interested in. Moves an object to a specified level in the stack. This is the one that we need. Like these ones on top here are nice to have, but this move to is the one that we want to have for the sorting. Okay. So what happens if I do like bring forward right now? Okay. Now let's go to the use context menu. We need the options here. So, oh, I remember there are also dividers in there. Let me check. Let me check in here. I remember that when we had the context menu, here there are also dividers from one to the other here. How do you do a divider? Dividers. This is the save pages. Oh, separators. Okay, cool. So, oh, I see. In the way I'm doing it right now, the options is, it has to be like a context option, right? So the context option, so everything in here should be, I don't really like to mix them. But probably it's better to do it like if it's the end of a category, probably it needs to have a separator, right? Yeah. So has separator. This is not necessary, but for example in here has the separator true. Yeah, because I want to separate when we have the group and ungroup feature here, and I want to be able to say, okay, after that we have everything regarding the send backwards and forward and so on and so forth. So if we have this here, we need to go into the scene and say, if you have this thing and the option has a separator, where do you put the separator, outside or inside? I think it's in the menu sub, right? Menu sub. Any other example of the separator? Yes, in here. I mean, I have the feeling they are just throwing it inside, like without too much thinking. So the only thing that I can think of is it has to be outside of the context menu. So for that to work, we have the content, right? But we need to have the iteration of the content outside, inside of the template like this. And then we can have the separator only if the option has the separator, right? So in that case, now we can say, okay, context menu, I'm going to create a new value as well. I'm starting to think that, no, probably this has still a validity since we have the disabled. Otherwise, this would not make much sense in here. Maybe an object would be just fine. But anyway, so this one is bring forward, right? Bring forward on bring forward who and on bring forward. Since these are just like wrappers to functions that are already part of the SVG store, I'm not seeing really an advantage in having these two things in here. Like literally there is no advantage for that. I cannot see a reason to do that. Okay, so probably I'm just going to change it. So SVG store ungroup, right? Ungroup from active selection. And this one will be SVG store group active selection. Okay. And SVG store bring object forward, right? Bring object forward. So this is fine and this is useless. Cool. Okay. First of all, let's check that our separator is working. Yeah, our separator is working, and also we have an extra separator which I forgot here, but if I put false at the end, this is going to disappear, right? Yeah, so we have just the group and group, and then we have bring forward, which is not working since the conditions in here are wrong and has at least one group. This is some property which probably I would like to have as computed property. But anyway, it's going to be run at least once whenever we are changing our selection, meaning that it doesn't really matter. In here, we have the actives length, and we want to have actives length should be, let's go with equal, no, sorry, wrong thing. Actives length should be equal to 1 for now. Let's see if that works. Not really. Of course. Okay, now bring forward works. So this is the circle, right? Or no, sorry, this is the ellipse. So if I do this, oh, okay, it's not going to happen unless I update the layers, right? So this update layers, I'm doing modification to the layers themselves. Okay, nothing happens. Nothing happens. Do I need to re-render stuff? Request the re-rendering? Probably so, right? No. Okay, something changed. Oh, okay, wait, what? Am I calling it in the wrong way? So, yes, okay, it's changing. And bring forward. Okay, so we have a few misconceptions here. First of all, my understanding was that whatever is on the top of the layers is actually, yeah. My understanding was that my group right now was on top of everything. And it's not, it's clearly not, it's behind everything. Okay, so wait a minute. First of all, layer panel, you are misleading. So SVG store layers. So we have the layers inside of the SVG store, and the update. Where is it? Wait, that was correct actually. The request render all, it's fine. The update layers is picking the objects and is just pushing them. I want to unshift them most likely, right? So I'm resetting the objects and then I want to unshift. Unshift was, if I'm not wrong. And this means that, yeah, my group right now is going to be last, which is what I'm supposing it should be. And now if I want to move the text on the top side, I'm just going to say bring forward. Yeah. And now is on top of everything, right? So now let's have this one, the group in here, and I want the group to be on top of everything. So I'm doing it a couple of times. Now this group is almost, yeah, now it's on top of the text. So this is cool. This is also working. Nice. Let's move forward. Let's move forward by creating a method that will send object backward. Quite ironic. Send backwards, bring forward, send object backward, the active send to back. Yeah, so we can have 4 of those methods, but at the same time I don't want to have like 4 of these functions, so probably having like a mapping would be better in this case. But this is just one of the things that we need to do. So change, let's see, because we have 4 of them, and this is like the change of the change object. Is this like, oh yeah, ordering, right? So you can give them an object, first of all, which is going to be the fabric object, and then one of 4 possible methods, basically, which is send backwards and so on and so forth. These methods are in here, right? And what we could do is we could create some types that we would need to do anyway later on. And this would be like, can I do this in this way? Is it ordering object ordering methods? I don't know, but basically it's just should I do it like this, right? Bring forward. So I will have like bring forward, which is this function here, right? Cannot find the name, yeah, because I gave you here. Okay, this is fine now. Send backwards, okay, and it's going to be this one. Okay, send to back, send to back. This is all because I don't want to deal with random strings. Bring to front. I would rather have this enum with all the possibilities. Bring to front. Okay. Object ordering methods. This is fine, and this is going to be ordering method, object ordering methods. Okay, so in this case now I can do this once, retrieve what I needed, and then I can say, okay, I don't need those methods anymore, just the ordering one. And this would be like this. Okay, active ordering method is going to complain, right? No, it didn't. No, it didn't. And now that I notice it, I don't even need this. I just need the ordering method. Everything else is no useless. It's useless now. and this will be change the ordering, right? Now the thing is, I need to create a method that when called will do this, meaning that I cannot well, in the use context right now, I need to do it in a different way. Yeah, I cannot do this anymore. I need to do a function that when called is going to call the SVG store, and it will change the object ordering based on the ordering method of bring forward, right? I mean, this looks okay to me, kind of. But now I would have to like write these 4 times, like 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I don't want to do this. So how about we get all the object keys of the object ordering method, object ordering methods, and then we map them. And based on this, we are going to map, I mean, it's not really a map, it's for each method. We are going to say, and these methods are what exactly? Like, what is the type? It's a string. It believes it's a string, which is fine, because I can I index it? Can I do this? I can't. How about values? How about values, and I just go with this? Yeah, should be fine. The problem is now that I need to have another thing for this one, because this is method, but this is just the rough name that I have for it, right? So I have bring forward, send backwards, and so on and so forth for all these methods, but I don't have like the label of them. Of course, having i18n would be better in this case, but we can have even just a simple type or utils method maybe. Export function, which is like the ordering get label from ordering method, and it will be like a method something like this, right? But still it's not really, it's just going to be a string actually, because it's going to be the values of it. So I'm going to have this, and yeah, I can switch on the method and based on the case like this bring forward, right? This one have bring forward. Not sure this is the best solution, but I mean it works. Put back, send to back. This is send backwards, and the other one will be bring to front, right? Bring to front. Now let me put them close to each other. Default missing key. I'd rather see it. Okay, and this one returns a string. We don't need this anymore. Get label from ordering methods. Okay, I can close this one. Get label method, and now we are going to have the methods in the correct way, right? So let's test them first. Let's test them. I have the text which is in the middle right now. So if I do send backwards, right? Nothing happened. Interesting. Bring forward, even less than that. Nice. So far it looks like they are not working. The methods are the on-click, right? Change object ordering, but there appear not to be. Oh wait, I probably need to call that. I definitely need to call that, otherwise it's not going to work. Yep, now it's working. So bring forward is actually moving the object at the top, which is fine. Send backwards is moving it to the lower part. Then bring to front is moving it immediately to the front of to the front of the layers and send to back to the last place. So this works correctly. And now there's one small thing that is bothering me, which is bring forward, send backwards, and then send again. I want, like, you see, just the ordering of this thing. So the ordering is based on the mapping inside of the context menu. So this ordering is my fault. I want to read like this. Yeah. So we have bring, sang, bring, sang. Perfect. Now this works a little bit better. So this is also fine. So in this way we are adding a few things, but we are able to implement the send forward, backward of the layers. So this is not full layering, but ordering methods for layers. So this is fine for now. And the last one that we need to do is if you change something manually, right? If you change something manually, you want to reflect this inside of your inside of the application. So since we have text black on black, I cannot see stuff right now. Let's go with the ellipse could be fill like green, for example, right? Yeah, and the circle could be, I don't know, yellow. We have something. Yeah, we have already something yellow. Yeah, let's go gray. Okay, perfect. So at least we can see the different layering positions. So whenever I'm selecting something, it's going to be on top layer when I'm selecting it, but as soon as I deselect it, it's going to be put in the right place. So let's see. We saw before that we have the move. Was it move to? I think it was like move to, right? If I go to the methods here, send backwards, right? There was move to. Yeah. So move to actually it's a method of the canvas, but I guess at this point that it's going to work also for other things, and it's going to move the object. It's going to move the object to a specific index, right? So my question is, when it's going to move it to that specific index, right? What happens to the others? Because that's kind of the problem that we have right now. If you just move it, it means that all the others are going to be replaced. But how is this going to happen? So let's suppose that you have a few layers, right? And we are going to have a few layers in here. Okay, and now we have two special layers. So this one and this one. Now, when I'm exchanging those two, them, basically this is going here, right? So let's have the second scenario and let's go with an arrow. This is not an arrow, okay. And this will become basically this goes in here and this goes in here, right? So we are changing position, and this is what I want to have, right? Is this what we are doing? Or what we actually are doing by selecting it is we are just placing this is the first case scenario. So this is the first case scenario. This is the second one, where we have an object that we are selecting. So this no longer is interesting to us. And whenever we are putting something, right, we are just moving all the others automatically. So this basically is going from here to here. So everything else is just changing. But my question is, what is this index, right? What is the resulting index, the final index? That's my question. Because we are not like exchanging them, right? If I move something from here, then automatically everything that I have is going to move on top, and then we are going to put our object at the bottom, right? So we are actually changing the indexes of all of them. That's my guess. So we are not saying, okay, replace this with this. Should be the second case scenario right now. And the reason why is this different is because in the first case scenario, we are just changing those two. So basically this index and this index are just getting replaced. Everything else stays in place, right? But in the other case, every other index is changing, because this was 0, 1, 2, and suddenly this will, if we move it, this will become 1, this will become 2, and so on and so forth. So yeah, let's see the move to, how the move to is going to operate, because I'm curious. Let's see. Change. I don't like the name of this thing, because it's called like change object ordering, but what I'm about to do is again changing the object ordering. So move object. This should be good for now. I just have this, rename this absolutely, because I don't like the naming of this thing. So in our case, we mentioned we have the move to, right? Move to, and there is one for the static canvas, and there is one also for the object. So the object itself just needs to have the index, right? So the idea is this time we are going to take the object from the layer, right? So it's not from the active selection, because so far in here, every time we needed to do something, this was already selected, right? So doing a bring forward or set backwards, it doesn't really matter, because we already have the object and it's already selected. But what if we want to have it from here? Then we need to pass the ID, probably. Pass the ID and find it by ID. So we need to have the object itself, fabric object. Then we need to have the index, which is the number. Then we are going to get the same elements from here. We are going to find the object as we did before. But where did we do it? Yeah, we did it in here. And okay, I don't need to set it though, right? I need to have the const object ID. Yeah, it would be good if I had like some helper methods in here. I have a lot of repeated code. Create helper method with catch for errors to avoid repeated code. Okay, so that's a nice thing to have as well. Now we take this object here, we have the object obj, and we move to the index, right? We move to the index, which is fine. Let's see what happens in the layers, in the layer panel, because in the layer panel, whenever we have a change, right, we are switching something, we have this move event. And the move event has the element itself, which has the object in it. Okay, somehow we get to the ID. Eventually we will get to the ID of the object that was moved. But basically everything else is like switching. So that's for sure the second case scenario. That's for sure. Let's see. We get the ID and we get the destination, right? We get old index and the new index. And the new index in this case is 3. So let me see. If I move something like the ellipse, right? I move it to the very back of everything. New index is 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, okay, perfect. So my expectation is that by using the new index inside of the moved element in here, everything should somehow work out. So this should not be any. This should be whatever the changing order of the view draggable is. So inside of here we have view draggable, right? No, we don't. It's outside here. View draggable. Yeah. So change. Do we have a definition for that? No, we don't. Cool. How about we install some types? Like types. What's that? View draggable, right? Types view draggable. So you're installing some types and they are already deprecated. Cool. So how reliable is this thing right now? So if I do change, right, does it know anything about the methods? No, it does not. How about this change? If I check inside of here and I'm looking for, we have, oh, okay, no, it's not going to be helpful at all. Everything is any here. Everything is any. So, yeah, this is not going to be helpful at all. Like no types, no anything. Types of view draggable deprecated, of course, they're useless. So pm remove. Okay, let me see if they are removed. Yeah, should be fine. So how, I mean, we can assume that we will have an object that inside of it has moved. We need to create our own event for that. Let's create an interface of a draggable on order change. On draggable on order change. So this will be the event, right? Can we put it in here? Wait, it will be like a draggable on order change event. This cannot complain because this doesn't have any idea of the type, but inside of it there should be a moved which, oh, did I kill the server here? Yeah, I think so. Okay. Oh yeah, okay. Now it should be fine. So moved, what does move contain? No, we want it in here. Moved, okay, it has the element new index and the old index. So element which is to be defined, there is, then we have the new index which is a number, and then we have the old index which is also a number. And the element contains the object, and the object contains the meta, and the meta contains the ID. Pretty linear. So fabric, no, I wish it was that simple. No, it's object, and the object is a fabric object actually. So this should be fine. This should be the event, right? So first of all, we need to make some checks. So first of all, I don't even know if we will have this for sure. So everything in here is actually questionable. I don't know if we will have, maybe the new index and the old index should be there for sure, but everything else is, I don't know if it will exist or not. So the moved should be the e moved, right? And if we don't have the moved, then we have an error, right? No moved, no idea why. And this now we will have the element itself, right? Const element, which is inside, no, the element should be inside of the moved element. I don't want to check each one of them in, so I will probably do this. Object, element, object. If there is no object, there is no move, object or element. And then I'm just going to print the event just to be sure and check what's in there. So then we have, okay, then we can interact with the SVG store, right? And we can move object okay, and this one's the object itself. This one's the object itself, and it's going to, okay, so since we are going to do it by ID, I don't see why passing the object and doing a double check every time. So I would rather say, okay, we are going to use the object ID in here. So we are not going to look for that. We have it, and then we are just looking for the object ID. And in here, on the other side, I'm going to say, okay, I want to move it. So if the object has some data which has, so the ID, the object ID actually would be whether like there is an object data ID or null. If there is no object ID, then no object ID on the moved layer. Okay, object ID, and then we are going to have the index, right? So the index was inside of here, and it should be pretty straightforward, like e moved new index, but we don't know if moved is there, so better to take just moved. Okay, sounds reasonable. Let's see what happens. So first of all, when we do this operation, right, the move object, are we going to, no, we still need to do the request render, update layers. I will update layers even if the update itself should not be necessary anymore. And the reason is because I'm actually updating them in here. So the local update should be enough. Let's see if that works. Okay, it's changing some stuff, but I have no idea unless I try it. So the text is on top of the ellipse right now, right? If I move it down here, whoa, it worked. Okay, but the text moving is currently not working as well, right? As much. Okay. So for a moment, I saw like a glimpse of hope, and right now that's gone. Let's see if we can fix it. So if I move the ellipse, right, I'm going to move the ellipse down there. Or maybe not. Let's see what's going on here. If I remove the update layers, right, is it going to change anything? Okay. So actually updating twice the layers leads to issues, right? That's what I should understand of it. And also right now we have okay, that's messy because we have the text which is supposedly on top of everything in here, right? It's also on top of everything, but the layers are in the wrong direction. They're in the wrong direction. So the reason is because I'm displaying them in the other side. So when you change something, you want to, yeah, I need to have the reversed view of that. I cannot rely on unshifting and stuff like that, because otherwise, like, we will have this situation when we have the text which is on top of everything, but in our layers supposedly is on the bottom of everything. So this is not okay. So when we do this, I want to still push layers in here, and when I'm going to visualize them, I'm going to have likely a copy of them with a reverse, I guess. So const reversed layers. Let's see if this can work. And this is going to return me SVG store layers reverse. And when I'm going to show them, this is like the V model, right? This is the V model. And the V model should not be a computed property. Let's ignore that for the moment. Do you have something else draggable? View draggable. Do you have something that is not actually like the model? Do you have a list maybe, or values? This is V model. How about list? type array. Alternative to the model value, prop list is an array to be synchronized with drag and drop. The main difference is list prop is updated by draggable components using the splice method, whereas model value is immutable. Okay. So, well, I think I rather have this, because in this way I can do this, reverse layers, right? How much are you going to complain about this? So I have the text, right? I have the text in here, and the text, now I want to put it on top of everything. Okay, but since it's reversed, it's going to put it at the bottom. Oh man, this is so confusing. SVG store layers. They are not a method. So let's have, okay. But this is technically speaking at the bottom right now, right? And now it's on the top of everything. Yeah. So the only thing that I want to do right now is to change the visualization of it, because having stuff at the bottom when you should have them at the top is not ideal. But also like the view draggable thing is rendering stuff, I mean sequentially, meaning that I cannot like reverse it. Can you reverse it? Reverse. Do you have a reverse for that? No. No, you don't. If you don't have it, so wait, you have a sort. Then all sortable options are valid. What is sort though? Sort. Can be set directly as retrackable since whatever. Sortable options. What is this thing? Sort through. Okay, wait. Sort through. Sorting inside list. Cool. What do you sort by? Like, what is the idea behind your sorting? Sorting inside of the list. Called by any change to the list. Huh, I see. What is the difference between this and on change? This one. When view dragging changes position, right? Most likely why this event is used to get the dragging element, same properties as on end. Okay. So this changes the position. So maybe also with other lists, but let's see. On sort. The workaround around it. I mean, I just need it as a view. The problem is that when I use it differently, so if I sort them, then whenever I'm actually using the new index, so let's suppose that I'm going to use the reverse layers, right? So in this case here, this is in the middle, right? And I'm putting it at bottom, but actually it's going on the top. And the reason is, of course, because it's reversed. So when I do that, what I actually want to do is to say, okay, whenever you say new index in here, that's not actually the new index. That's the point. That's not actually the new index. The real new index should be the amount of elements that I have. So the SVG layers, SVG store layers length minus the moved new index, right? Because I want to have the opposite of it. What happens in this case? Nope. Oh, and also I think, yeah, every single time it's going to reverse them. So it's not maintaining, no, it's not maintaining anything. So every time it's just reversing them. I see. So as of right now, whenever I'm bringing forward something, right, I'm moving it to the bottom. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, this is just a visualization thing. The functionality is there. I don't want to waste too much time on this, since I also have other things that I want to complete today. And reordering layers, from my perspective, like this instead of being at the last place, should be at the first one. This is like a minor thing in my book, at least for now. Maybe later on we can work on that. I can leave it to do for myself and say, okay, reordering layers, there is change the visualization. I mean, let's do it like this. Leftovers, change the visualization for the ordering layers to be reversed. Okay, but I want to like be done with the layer part. Fit, add, drag, drop, reordering of layers, because at least that part works, right? So the thing is, we have in here the change of the elements based on the drag and drop, so this should work fine. So we have the sphere here, like the circle going on top. Yeah, so I would say for now at least I'm satisfied with this result. I would say it's okay. I will probably take a very quick break, and then we can start with the rest of it. Okay, and we are back. So let's start with some extra properties that I want to add in here. So there were a couple of ones, like for example the radius and what was it? The radius for circles and the colors. Okay, let's see how did we used to add the properties. Oh, I see. We had this form schema here. And then we had some values, right? We had some values. Okay, what was this? Oh, yeah. I do remember this. Any expression, active property. So this is the one that is actually automatically scaling them, right? Okay. It's setting the field value. Okay, there are a few properties that we may need extra. Like, for example, if I select this one, does it have... let me remove some of the logs that I don't need, like this one. Let's see if there are other ones. Yeah, this I don't need right now. Neither this one. Wait. What is this for? Oh, this moves the active cell. Oh, okay, I see. We don't need it really. So this is fine. So log objects. Okay. Wait, on select objects. This one actually could be useful. When is this called? When I'm selecting them. Okay, this one could be useful now. And the other one is when you register events. Perfect. So if I select something right now in here, like the circle has some properties. I was expecting it to have some properties like the radius, right? Or maybe not. I cannot see it. Wait, it does. It literally is here. Radius. So the circle has the radius, but what if selected the ellipse? It does have them in Rx and Ry. Okay, perfect. So in case we have something that is an instance of a circle, we need to add those two properties, right? So let's start from that. Let's start from that property panel. When do we recognize that we need labor for age? Oh, I see. I didn't update this one. I mean, it's not that bad. But in here, right, we have some fields. It's a pretty long component because we have all these form fields and stuff. So I want to have eventually I want to have also the radius. How do I get it? So in here we could have radius, which is a z number, right? Also Rx and Ry. So where do I set these values initially? Radius 1, Rx, Ry, it's fine. I don't mind. But those values needs to be available only if you are selecting a circle. I mean, some of them when you have selected a circle, and some of them when you have the ellipse. So I mean, we could have currently selected object type. I can remove the currently. This could be like the selected object type, right? And this will be ref null as a reference to a string or null. So eventually this is not defined if we don't have anything, but if we select, this is not for the values. I need to select something from the outside. Yeah, in here. So we have the active transform, right? But what about the object? Let's see the object here. So I have this, I'm selecting it, object. What do we have? No, we have just the transform actually, we don't have the object. This is not okay, this is not good. I want to have the object because I need to have the object type, because based on that I'm going to show or hide some properties. So let's see. Active object. Oh yeah, because we are changing it, right? But I can do. Can it fix the styling here? No, it's broken. Okay. So object is like the it's like the canvas, right? We need the canvas. Where do we get it from? SVG store, get canvas, and then we are going to retrieve the active object, right? So if we don't have the object, I mean, it's like we don't have it's the same thing if we don't have the active, right? So if you don't have this or you don't have the object, it's basically the same thing. It's like something went wrong. Active transform or object, right? Fine, now we can assume that we have the object and the object has a type, right? Yeah. So set current, selected object type value is equal to the object type. Now, it's undefined. I can work with that, it's fine. Instead of having, now we are going to have undefined here. So this is good. And somehow it got fixed, the LSP got fixed. Okay, perfect. So in here, I want to see now, where we have the object. I want to see the selected object value, right? Okay, so this is an ellipse, this is an I-text, this is a circle, and this is fine. So in case we have a circle, we are going to display also the fields for the radius. Just one field, one extra field, which is the radius. Do we have something that has one field so far? We don't, it's only the opacity. So let's go and get like form field, this one, but actually I want to have a template that is going to display this value, this field, only if the current selected object type is basically a circle. Because the ellipse, we already know that is going to use two values. So in this case, this will be the radius. And we are going to write radius in here. This is correct. Default value. Default value, I set it as 1. Max min, this is wrong. It should not be a slider. This should be, I think we can remove also this. We can leave the form control. I just need to have this, right? Number field content. I think that, yeah, inside of the form control, I want to have these fields. Form control, number field, ID. What is the ID here? ID left. Oh, okay. I should remove this one. This should be radius, radius component field for the radius, radius again. I'm writing it too many times, so probably either this one or this one is removable, and I'm just writing it twice. I will probably notice as soon as I render this stuff. But this one, component field, okay. How about the model value? How about the model value in here? It's not being used, right? So it's just component field, but not value. How about the opacity? The opacity is using value somewhere. This one. Oh, I see. It shows the value in here, but basically it could just say component field model value instead of value. I mean, it doesn't really matter. So value, I'm going to remove this one. And I mean, let's see what's going on. So we have the radius, right? So in case I selected the circle, oh, okay, I have two labels. So let me remove one of them. Okay, now I have only this one. This and the opacity are way too close to each other. This is giving me some kind of anxiety. I want them to be removed. Form item. Okay, form field. This is fine now. I think this is okay. And this is not setting the initial value of the radius, right? So this one will have some kind of radius value, but we are not setting it. And the reason is, in the watch here, when we are watching for the active object, we don't have the property of the radius as watched, right? So in here, we need to watch also, whenever we select something, we need to watch also for the radius property, right? Console log, this should be fine. Math from active property. Oh, okay, I'm scaling this property, but this should be fine, right? Top of height opacity. Okay, so wait a second. Set field property. Am I missing one field somewhere? Because we have added it to radius, we have it added it in here as well, but the form schema is here, right? So we should not have to add stuff anywhere else. Values change from the property panel. So this is when we are going to change it from the property panel, right? But in here, we should have everything we need because we are taking it from the radius, right? So let me check, like for example, oh, I see. The active transform does not contain the information about the radius for some reason. For some wicked reason, it does not contain that information. So in order to check that, we can simply say, okay, let's print first of all the active, which is the transform that we are using right now, and literally immediately after we are going to use the object. So right now, if I'm selecting something, let's start from scratch. Here we have the active, okay, and the active is containing these values, right? But then we have this, which has also the radius inside. Oh, I think I remember why. When we have the scene, in the scene, we have, oh yeah, okay, the active transform, we are creating the active transform ourselves. So this should be target radius, target radius. Think about it, you really want to have radius here, right? So let's see, radius, active transform, custom transform, this looks okay. Rx and Ry as well, so those are also numbers. So now, property radius does not exist on type object. Yes, because it does exist only if the object is actually a circle. But in the generic object type, it's probably not there. So in that case, it's going to be either one or, I mean, one is fine. We are not going to store it anyway, I guess. But a better way would probably be undefined, right? That would be the best way. Like same goes for Rx and Ry. If it's not there, why should we bother about that? So let's ignore, for example, for now that the typing is completely wrong. And in the SVG in here, we already have it that is eventually a number or undefined. So now when we go back to the property panel and we say, okay, let's see the type, right? Does it have optional, right? This should be also optional, and this one as well. These three values should be optional because we don't have we are not expecting it to be there all the times. So let's see now if we have any change. Yeah, we have the radius. As you can see here, we finally have the radius. Now, do we have, no, I haven't created still the form for the Rx and Ry. But in the ellipse, we should also have, so let me take the values for Rx and Ry. And let's create, first of all, we want to have a component like scale or like the position. If you want to change, no, probably like the position, because if you want to change one of those two properties, you don't want to change accordingly also the other. It's the second I need to close here, otherwise, okay, there's too much sun. Okay, so let's see. I want to have it like the dimensions. So x position, right? X position, and we have it within this div, right? So let's take it in here and we'll say, okay, we have already here the circle one. Let's have it also for the ellipse. So, nope. Wanted to have maybe something like this. And this is if we have the ellipse. And if we have it, this will be Rx, name Rx, so radius x, right? Radius x, this is going to use the field model value of the Rx, and this will be the Ry. Ry radius y. Okay, I hope. So we're going to select this, and we have the radius. Yeah, perfect. So we have it that whenever we are selecting, like even like a text is not appearing, it does not appear the radius property. But then if we have the circle, we have the radius. With the ellipse, we have the radius x and the radius y. So this is okay. One last thing that we need to do is we need to update the values starting from here. So when we have the watch for the values, if we have the ratio here, it's fine, but then we need to also check for circle and ellipse, meaning that if the SVG, let me copy it just from here, this circle, okay. If we have the radius different from undefined, okay, then we are going to set it. Okay, this should be just like this, right? Radius is not assignable to this. I mean, it's still because of key of object. It's saying, okay, this is a generic object, it may not have that property, and I mean, yeah, sure, fine. I know what you mean, I feel you, it's okay. But we are still using that property. So let's see if this is enough to make it work. Radius x, yes, it's increasing right now, the radius of that. Let me put it to some value, it's okay. Oh, also I have still this thing, whenever I press enter, it's automatically going to call, like click the first button. So that's also need to be fixed. But anyway, this makes like the radius x and radius y working, which is different from the width, because whenever we change the width, we are actually changing like the width of the object itself. So in this case, this doesn't really mean anything to this. We can change the scale, but the scale is different from the width and it's different from the radius. But since it doesn't really work, do I need to have it? Do I need even to have the width in here? I could just remove it. I could just remove it and replace it with radius x and radius y. Wait, does it work with the circle? What happens with the circle? Same thing, nothing happens. And the reason is because we have the radius property, right? So yeah, we can just remove it. We can just remove them, and we will replace them. So basically inside of here we will have width somewhere, right? So this one contains both the width and the height, right? So in here we're going to put everything that we did so far for the circle and the radius, circle and the ellipse. Okay, and we have it that if we have the selected object that is like a circle, or if we have an ellipse, or in every other case, we basically will have something that has a width and the height, right? So we can go in here, say, okay, this is Ry. Perfect. We can go in here and say VLs, right? So if this worked, we can see that in here we will have, okay, radius x and radius y. Then we are going here, we have the radius, the spacing here is not working, okay, I'm going to fix it. And then here we have width and height, so this is correct. Let's fix the spacing. The spacing is for the circle, right? Spacing is for the circle. What do you have in here? We have flex gap 2 in the case of the circle. How about we have like this instead? Then we're going to have this. That's it for the circle? That's it? Okay. I know, I was expecting it to be like longer. Should be bottom, right? So yeah, there is a little bit more of space right now. Yeah, it's the same as the, yeah, so nothing is moving, so the spacing is the same right now. So this is fine. So we added some properties, add props for ellipse and circle. This one extra thing. And I think that we can start now with the coloring part, which is another property, since we are already at the properties, right? So let me remove the few console logs that we have right now. I don't need this one either, or this. Okay. So we don't have it anymore. This is fine. About the coloring. We will also need something like a color selector. So I don't need this anymore. This probably a little bit. Let's keep this one open. Okay, and even if we don't have the color selector, there was a component that I remember. I think it was like the popover. Yeah, so the popover basically is like this, and then when I click on it, I get this panel inside, right? And let's see, there is a trigger and some content. So this is basically the gist of it. So how about we just create a component of it? I'm going to say components color selector. Okay, and we know that we want it to be a popover, so okay, wrong script, yes, setup. Okay, now I want to have an environment where I can test it, right? So I don't want to mess the property panel or other parts, so I will just create test view, and this one, it's going to be a page, right? So hello, let's see if that works. Okay, and inside of this we're going to have our color, how do I call it? Color selector. I think that color picker sounds better. Components, color picker. Yeah, so color picker. Okay, now so you have this thing, but nothing works basically. I don't know how to make it clickable right now from here. So let's see. First of all, let me start over since I did some renaming. In the test page, I don't need the flex age full here. Let's have just a background that is hiding. Okay, perfect. So we have some popover content in here. Now we need to have some color selections. I mean, even a basic one should be fine. Let's randomly generate some colors, I guess. Yeah, why not? We're going to have inside the color picker, we are going to have const what do I do? Colors, because now I'm thinking also about that some colors are like strings, but basically what I would like to have is a set of RGBA colors, right? So whenever we are creating this, I want to initialize function init colors, And basically this means that this would be a reference as ref to, I don't know, an array of custom colors. Something like this, yeah. And then for values, for some values, we are going to put some colors inside of it, right? So what values are we going to use? Let me think. So let's suppose that we want to have like 10 colors, right? Then we need to move them. So we have range 255, 256 actually. So we have 256. Let's suppose that we are going to move them by 10. So it will be like 0, 25, 50. Sorry, we want to have 10 of them, meaning that we need to move them by 25. So 0, 25, 50, 75, and so on and so forth. And then I'm going to change them also on, because we need to change them on RG and B, right? And this means that if I want 10 colors, I will have, no, I will have way more than that. I will have way more than those colors. So first of all, let's, yeah, we are going to scale them by 25, right? So for let x equal to 0 unless it's less than this value here. I mean, actually this value here. And then how about this? But then we need also to do the same operation like for the y here, and then for z, which is actually R, G, and B. Okay, now we have those values here, and what I want to do is colors value push a string, which is basically RGB R, G, and B, right? I don't know. I'm pretty sure that this is not how automatic code generation, like how the all colors in the palette you have. I'm sure this is not how it would work. But that's my first guess. I will probably read more about how to do that. Okay, so now we will have those colors, right? Whenever we have the mounted of the component, we're going to init those colors. And in here, we are going to have a set of boxes, right? And I want to have, so first of all, how many colors do we have? So this will be colors value length. So we have quite few of them, probably a little bit too much. Meaning that if I have offset, which in this case was 25, how about we do 50? Right, how many do we have here? 216, I mean, still quite a lot. How about 70? 64 colors. 64 colors sounds about reasonable. 64 colors means also that I can just store them in grids, and then I can just move the grid that it will be 8 by 8, right? Yeah. So how about we do it flex wrap? I mean, it could be also like a grid, but let's try with the wrap first. And the content of it is going to be size 4 element with the style of the color itself, right? So first of all, we will be iterating over color before color of colors, right? The key will be the color itself, right? Yeah, sounds about right. And then the style is the background color is the color. so far so good, and this is empty, right? This should be empty. Okay, I mean, it's not as bad. I thought it would look way worse than that, but I mean, some colors are it's not ideal. Okay, it's not ideal. Let's just say that it's less than ideal. And the reason is because there is no actual thought in the process of generating them. I'm simply like iterating over every possible RGB value, in this case with the offset. So some of them are also kind of repeating. You can almost see it. They are just, this is not the best way of like generating those colors. But this will do for now. This will definitely do for now. So border, then we have the border transparent. But whenever you hover onto it, the border will, I don't know, will become blue or whatever. I mean, yeah. So in this case, we can go on top of them. Can we make it a little bit bigger, maybe? Like border 2 or something. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger, and then whenever you are selecting them, you have like a cursor pointer, right? So you can click on it. So clicking on it will actually emit the color selection. Define emits, right? Define emits selected color. And when you click on this thing, it will call the emit function with selected color. I forgot about something. Like on selected color. Okay, this sounds a little bit better. Selected color. Nice. So this is one way of doing it. Now I need to close the popover. I need to close the popover because right now it's not closing it whenever I'm selecting something. So how do we close it? Popover. What do you do when you close something? Popover content. Do you emit? Yes. Popover content emits. Close autofocus. When autofocus, event handler code when autofocusing on close can be prevented. This is not what I was looking for. Do you have some open property or something? So in here, right? Code like open. Popover. Do you have a vbind? They are taking the values from this Reka UI. Let's see. So if I go in here, will I have more information about the popover from the other library? Popover, right? Bunch of stuff in here. Default open. Okay. They have it. Look at this one. Contains all the part of the popover. Boolean. So wait, there are more information about SHAD-CN inside of Reka than SHAD-CN itself, which is a little bit ironic, I would say. But okay, it's as long as we have the info, it's good, I guess. So controlled open state of the popover and emit event handler code when the open state of the popover. So what if I just call the can I just do that? So let's suppose that we have a function on select color, and this one takes a color which is a string, and we are going to say on select color for this. And this is going to have an emit const emit like this. Yeah, okay, but then I want to also update open. Can I do this? I doubt it. No, in fact, update open. I cannot just trigger an event on top of that. What if open, which is a field? Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Update open is actually. Oh, I see. Wait. So, can we do this? Open, and then open value is equal to false. Can I just do this? Not really, huh? No. Do you have a V model? I have a feeling that you don't, right? I mean, I don't know if it's working because of the V model or if it's just wrong in here. So the open should be handled by this, but then on update open, right? On update open, you should say that the event like open is equal to the event, right? Not really, huh? Because what I'm trying to avoid is having to code this this part myself. So the on click, right? Because the on click should be already like working. If I click on this part, right, will it open? No. On open. Event, whatever it is, I want to see what's inside of it. Okay. Did it work? Wait, but why? Like, I didn't change anything. Wait a second. I just okay. Does this work? Yeah. Question. Does this select my color? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It selects my color. Okay, perfect. So this works, and Shadcyan has some like unclear stuff going on for me, at least. Maybe for everybody else, this is clear, but not that much. Let's see. Okay, I mean, we have our color picker. Now we need to introduce it. So first of all, there is this open popover, right? But the color picker will not have a button. The color picker will have the current color. So let me think. Yeah, it will have a current color, which will be the reference to a string. Yeah, it will be a reference to the string. And in here, what we are going to have is actually like a box containing that exact color. So size 4, 5, or whatever, I don't mind. Actually, the size could be changeable, but the style of it, the style will contain the background color, which is the current color, right? Okay, but since at the very beginning nothing is selected, this doesn't work. Yeah, so in this case, we are going to have, when I want to select the color, I will actually just update also the current color value to be equal to color. So in this case, yeah, so this one works as well. Perfect. Okay, now let's make it a little bit bigger maybe, because I can barely use that. Okay, 7 looks fine. Board rounded MD maybe. I don't know, just to make it a little bit nicer, I guess. But still we have this color selection, which is basically random. Oh, look at this. Look at this. We don't have we need to click onto something, otherwise we don't have the close here. So probably the update on update open, this should stay, and this maybe should be clicked. Nope. On update open, we should have some value, I guess, here. I don't know what it is. Value. So let me see if this is going to be triggered. Yes, it's triggered actually. So open.value is equal to value. We are going to keep this, and yeah, when you click outside right now, it works as expected. Also, when we click here, it's also going to have the selected color. So this is also fine. Now we have the selector. We need to put the selector in the right place, and the right place is inside of here. When we have, like, for example, the ellipse, right? We are going to have another property, and this property is going to be the fill, the color filling. So color filling is available, I guess, for everything inside of the SVG, like path, rect, like ellipses, circles, everything should support like the fill, right? So if that's the case, I don't need to worry about having to remove it. Like for example, for the circle and the ellipse, we have to remove radius and rx and ry. But in this case, we can just keep it. We can keep it there. So in the SVG here, we have a definition of what we want to support. So fill will be one of those parameters. In the scene, we are going to say, okay, pass also the fill, and fill could be undefined. Can it be undefined? Yeah, I guess so. I guess it can be undefined after all. But type string pattern gradient undefined is not assignable to type number undefined. Are you sure about this? The active transform, after all, is a custom transform, which is, yeah, you're totally right about that. So fill will be a string. Fill will be a string. Eventually it could be like a gradient or whatever. But fill should be a string for now. Scene, I mean, why not? Pattern and gradient. I'm going to use those things anyway later on. Can I just have those types in here? Like pattern, if I do pattern, fabric implementation, is this going to work also if I put gradient? Okay. Are you happier now in here? Yes, no errors anymore. But this for the Rx and radius, we are going to change them. Property panel. Property panel, we have a schema in here, and in the schema we have different properties. I want to have also the fill, which will be a string, and yeah, it's optional. When we have the values, and we have the value of the fill, we are going to put it in here. Okay. Now, when we have the active object, we are going to take also the fill, right? Oh, of course, but the fill in this case is going to be a string, so I need to have a special set like I have for the opacity, which, again, I don't enjoy that much, but I guess we have to have this fill. So this will work, hopefully. And now, what I want to put it probably together with the scale X, scale Y, and stuff like properties. Yeah, let me put it like below the X position, right? X, Y position, so it would be like around here. Is this correct? Yeah. So this would be like the color picker, right? And the color picker will have, so I forgot about putting some values in it, but we also will have some props for the color picker. So this should have some value, right? This should have some value, and this will also have the onSelected color, right? Yes, onSelected color. So here we go with those two properties. Now, the value itself needs to be controlled by something, and that something will be, what will be? It will be this form field, like we have it in here, right? So form control, the form control goes into, do I need the form message? Do I don't know. I probably don't need this, but I'm going to use it anyway right now. So component field. So the value is component field, the model value, right? And when we select it, we are going to do component field on update of the model value, right? That's missing the tag. Missing the tag. Okay, okay, this works. I think we have it in here, right? But when I'm selecting something, as you can see, the color is not changing right now. And the reason is I didn't implement it in the color picker. So we need to have some props. Define props. And the value is going to be a string, right? To the type is being used as a value. Yeah, I always, is this like, no, it's not. So is it string? Sorry, like this. Okay. And now we can put the value in here, right? So when we are instantiating it, this will be either the props, yeah, either the props value or like the red color. Right side handing or this thing should be like this. Okay. Okay, so it's quite weird because right now this one is not type checked. Type check failed for approved value. Expected string with value 101. Got a number with number 101. Okay, with value 101. So we are clearly passing something. Oh yeah, of course. We are not passing the thing. We are passing the top value in here. I was like, what, a number? What are you talking about? Okay, here we go, here we go. We have already like the filling also. So as you can see, as I'm selecting the different objects, I have a different fill here. Now, we can also like select a color probably, but this is not going to work immediately, right? Man, I'm almost surprised. Okay. Okay, that's nice. That's nice, I guess. So I guess that we have also colors, right? And it works already with text as well, of course, because like it works automatically with every Fabric object. So this is nice. There are some other properties that we need to take into consideration as well now that I think of it. As you can see, like the text has a shadow, but this is like a text modification that goes into like extras for later. Let me bring up here the to-dos. And for colors, we have the color picker. Improve this eventually. So let me add this one to the leftovers. Improve the color picker. Now it's just random. And for the fill, we did the fill, right? The fill is fine. What we need to do is, let me see. We need to do the stroke now. We need to do the stroke. But the stroke should be basically the same thing, right? Except that you can change also the size of the stroke, right? So the size of the line. So in this case, this has already some value, but yeah, we can change it. Let me just check. So, okay. Okay. So, just a moment, and let's keep going with the stroke next. Okay. It's getting a little bit dark in here. Let me see if this improves somehow the situation. Okay. So, stroke. Let's start from the SVG store. Stroke. stroke is by any chance the stroke same as the filling, right? So it should have string, pattern, and gradient. So in here, if I go and just say, okay, add this stroke. Oh no, this is just a string. This is just a string. Wait, but why? What is the difference? Do you have gradients in here, right? You have the fill, right? So fill in this case is string, pattern, gradient, or undefined. But the stroke, okay, so the stroke basically is not going to support any kind of pattern or gradient. So we know that inside of Fabric we have JS v5 patterns, I think it was called. Yeah, I want to see the demo of this thing. I want to see the v5 demos of this thing. Okay, so here we have the patterns, right? And the patterns are being applied to the text, but this is applied only to the filling, so it doesn't work for the stroke. So actually the stroke will work only as a string. Okay, that's fine. Let me just change the property in here, because I was already assuming that it was going to be the same as the fill. Stroke, and there should be also stroke width, which is a number in this case, right? And you don't know for sure that if you're going to have it or not. That's my assumption. So stroke width. Okay, this is fine. Let's go back to our property panel, and inside of our property panel we have the fill, right? And I'm missing here the label. So I want to have a label that says that this is the fill. So this looks bad. Let's change it. Why does it look this bad? You see it, right? What is wrong with you? Do you want me actually to put the color picker into something that is like default in order to be able to say, okay, just take your space, take your time? Yeah, and this way it's just going to be in here. One nice thing that we could do eventually is just to put the actual value, like improve this to put the actual value of the color. But I mean, it's not really that important. I think this is good enough. And we are going to have this stroke in here, right? Stroke. I need to have a schema for this. So we will have stroke, which is the string, and it's also optional. And this one will be also stroke width, which is a number. And let me put some values in here, red. Then we have stroke also red, and then we have the stroke width, which will be, I guess, 1. You don't have anything. Okay, now let's take the values from here. This one is from when we modify something from, okay, since this is a value, we can just put this one, the stroke width, inside of here. But for everything else, like that is a string, we actually need to put it in here. So stroke, right? Now, this is one thing, and in here we need to take the values when you modify them, right? When you modify them, and it should be like fill. So we have the fill. If you have the stroke, which is undefined, which is different from undefined, then you're going to use it here. Stroke width. Okay, and okay. So here we have it. Okay, we have already like the stroke in here, which is blue. We are going to change it. Yeah, and this one works as well. This one works as well. And now I want to change only the just want to change the size also of the stroke, right? So here we have stroke, but what if we had like flex gap 4 and then put some numeric value here for the item, right? So I want to have just this. This should be enough, right? I hope that this should be enough. Oh no, wait. I want to have an entire form filled with the label and stuff because this is going to use a different value. Yeah, this is going to use completely different value. So this one in here is going to be the stroke width, and needs to close the form control, form a message, and everything else. And it doesn't work. Let me see. This is form description with the value. Okay. This number. Oh, okay. So I'm missing something. So it's below, like the form control. We should have this is a stroke. Form control. This is what I want to have instead, and this the value is the stroke width, right? I don't need the label, I guess. Let's see. Yeah. So the issue that we have right now is that we have, oh yeah. Okay, so this also works, but by default, whenever I'm selecting something, is probably going to apply a stroke at some point. Also, in some cases, it doesn't, doesn't work for this. Oh, because the stroke remains undefined, right? Yeah, okay. So if the stroke was undefined, it's going to set it. Okay. So I think I'm going to stop for a moment, and probably I can resume later on. Since I think we already achieved quite a lot of stuff today, like with the coloring and the strokes here. We need to change some labels, but generally speaking, we are in a good place right now. So I will be probably here later on, and yeah, to keep working on that.